Is this big Ford overrated? Hi guys, Eric here and welcome back to my channel. Today we will be having a look at this 2017 Ford Everest 2.2 turbo diesel XLT. This is one of those cars that are so popular here in South Africa that I started to believe that it is all hype. Was I right, or should I eat my words?
A really big thank you to the accommodating, thoughtful and helpful staff here at ASJ Motors. They have a huge selection of quality used cars located in two locations in the Overberg region. One is in the industrial area of Hermanus, the other is located on the main road of Verliesdorp. They are open for business, so be sure to check out their catalogue, link in the description box below.
If you live in the Western Cape and you have an original car in good condition you would like me to review, please get in touch. There's an email address in the description box below. The Everest is a bakkie-based SUV that is based currently on the T6 Ranger. The 2017 model we have here is available with 7 seats and a 2.2-litre 4-cylinder or 3.2-litre 5-cylinder diesel engine. For international markets, the first generation was released all the way back in 2003. It was based on the previous generation Ranger, which was built in Thailand, Vietnam and India, where it is known as the Endeavour. The same generation was released in South Africa in 2009, but was hopelessly overshadowed by the then Fortuner and rather forgotten by the general public. That all changed drastically in 2015 when Ford released the second generation Everest. It is bigger and better in every way than its predecessor. It is also built locally in Pretoria at the Silverton plant. Its engine came straight out of the Ranger as well, with power from the 3.2-litre 5-cylinder topping out at 147 kilowatts and 470 Nm of torque. Our test unit is the 2.2-litre 4-cylinder diesel variant, with a much less but still impressive 118 kilowatts and 375 Nm of torque. It is just about enough power considering this thing's weight. More on the test drive in a bit though. To me, it is the most attractive bakkie-based SUV in the market. It straddles the line perfectly of looking butch, elegant and even a bit brash. Perfect for the South African public. The front, with its huge chrome grille, might look a tad too American, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing, even if the Brits want you to believe it is. In profile is where you notice a lot of its bakkie roots, with very upright sheet metal and the sheer height of it. This is because the body is bolted onto the chassis. From the rear it looks great, everything is well proportioned and it looks modern. Even though the design is 6 years old, it's not bad. The only thing that bothers me a bit is the height. From the back it looks a bit top heavy. That is true for literally all its rivals though, and I think Ford did an excellent job with its styling. What is the interior like though? I hope this doesn't sound too cliche, but it really seems as though Ford did its homework when it comes to the Everest interior. I really think that this is the prettiest cabin in its segment. There is something so satisfying about its simplistic and technology-laden cabin. The use of materials is good too. Well, almost good. You have to forgive the fact that there are no soft-touch plastics on the dash or the doors, something that I never really understood. But the seats, as well as armrests, are covered in soft leather, and Ford lined almost all of its storage compartments with either rubber or carpet to help mitigate rattles. I love things like that. Build quality is also excellent. Everything feels solidly put together. I wish I could say the same about fit and finish. For the most part, it is good, but there are some odds and ends that doesn't really fit properly. So, at first glance at least, things are really impressive, but there are a couple of niggles. Speaking of niggles, In manual Everest at least, the gear lever is in the way of the climate controls. Also, some of the silver plastic pieces are ill-fitted, and the silver accents do clash a bit with its chrome surrounds. Other than that, I'm quite impressed. Let's have a closer look though, starting with the door panel. Well, it's grey. It's really grey. Now, while I prefer this colour to the pitch black plastics of the Fortuner, it must be said that the silver trim would pop a bit more on a darker background. Also, some trim pieces look a bit misaligned. This trim piece even feels a bit loose. I am being rather nitpicky though, because the door handle, for instance, is made out of solid metal and it looks amazing. The armrest is very well padded and is wrapped in leather. You get a pleather trim piece above said armrest, and the door pockets are of a very good size. When it comes to the weight of the door, this is actually one of my favorites in its segment because it feels heavy and upmarket, and it closes with a very satisfying, better than Amarok, thud. Anyone who's ever been in a modern Ford will definitely recognize its steering wheel. Now, this can be a very good thing or a less than good thing. Personally, I am glad to see some silver trim to help break up all the black, but in this particular case, I think it's a bit excessive, probably because the silver trim doesn't look or feel quite upmarket. Regardless, there are no less than 22 buttons on here. Now, this might seem a tad overwhelming, but it's actually ingenious. I will explain why in a bit. One thing that is noticeable, surprising, and quite disappointing is the lack of reach adjustment in the steering wheel. This makes finding a comfortable driving position quite tricky. Nonetheless, the stalks provide good dampening, they are really easy to understand, and I really like the look of it. These dials are excellent. In this segment, hells yes. The only analog thing on here is the speedometer, and that in itself is very simplistic and beautiful. I particularly like the blue needle. On either side of the analog dial, you'll find two identical full color drives information displays. It communicates a full trip computer, a digital rev counter, fuel gauge and water temperature gauge, audio information, vehicle settings, outside temperature, and the time. The ingenious part comes in when you have to navigate these screens. On the steering wheel, there are two identical clusters of buttons. The cluster to the left operates the screen on the left, and the same goes for the ones on the right. I just love how simplistic it is, yet at the same time really customizable. Moving to the infotainment system. Well, it is my favorite system of its age in this segment. It blows the Toyota system out of the water. Its graphics is crisp for its age, it is very easy to navigate, and it comes extremely well equipped with Bluetooth audio, USB input, navigation, screen mirroring, and a CD player. The standard fit sound system is also very good. It packs a decent punch. Much better than the tinny sound coming from the Toyota. It must be said though, when it comes to standard sound systems, the Amarok remains king. The climate control panel looks funky and is ergonomically very well thought out. The only problem is that the space between the buttons are a bit too small, meaning that you would probably have to take your eyes off the road to make sure you press the right button. I have always found dials to be a much better solution for this. The gear lever is wrapped in soft nappa leather, but interestingly, the plastic that comes in contact with your palm feels a bit cheap. The handbrake is very short and stubby, which is great, obviously, but it isn't wrapped in leather like some of its rivals. Thankfully, these seats are amazing. They are wrapped in soft and supple leather. They are really comfortable and they provide a good amount of support. They even look rather attractive if you ignore the GWMP series. The driver's seat is adjustable for height, making finding a comfortable driving position just that much easier. Turning to the practical side of things, when it comes to the storage solutions of the Everest, it does really well, although it isn't quite as cavernous as that of the Fortuner or the Hilux. Regardless, you do get a very big glove box that is well dampened. You get a huge tray area in front of the gear lever, 2 wide and deep cup holders, an interesting catch-up holder behind the gear lever, huge door pockets, and a deep space underneath the center armrest. You even get a sunglasses holder. Very impressive. Rear passengers will be more than happy back here. Knee room is great, especially if you have the seat slid all the way back. Headroom is also quite good, and shoulder room isn't that bad either. These seats can even recline. Yeah. It is the amenities though that really stand out. Big door pockets, storage pockets behind each front seat, 2 cup holders hidden away very neatly in the center armrest, and not only your own climate vents, but your own climate controls. That's right, the Everest has tri-zone climate control. That is very impressive. The third row will be best suited for small children though. Not because of knee room, as it can be sorted out by moving the seat in front of you forward. It's actually headroom that is the main problem back here. Thankfully, you do get your own cup holders and your own climate vents. One thing that truly rocks though is the ease in which the center seat folds out of the way. It is small details like this that make a huge difference in the owning experience of any car. Now for the boot. Well, with all 7 seats in place, it really is quite tiny at 249 litres. You do get a 12-volt socket though, which is awesome. The third row is really easy to fold down though, and with it stowed, the boot grows to a much more impressive 876 litres. Not only that, you also get 4 tethering hooks. That's not the best part though. With the second row folded down, the Everest becomes a van with a total cargo volume of 1,796 litres. That is very practical indeed. So the Everest is obviously very well packaged. What is the driving experience like though? Well, there's no denying the Everest's vast size, but actually hides it quite well, even when driving around town. There is so much to like about the driving experience. All the controls are nice and light, but special mentions have to go to the steering, which is extremely easy to operate, as well as the clutch, which is damn near foolproof. If you are wary about driving a diesel car because you don't want to stall it, the Everest is definitely the SUV for you. All-round visibility is also excellent, and the engine, while not the most refined, is definitely refined enough. As standard on the XLT model, you even get a reversing camera and rear park distance control, making parking that much more palatable. Out on the twisties, and considering the Everest's humble body-on-frame construction, it performs rather well. The steering is quite numb and there's quite a bit of body roll, but the rest of the experience is very positive. Just don't expect an F-Pace or a Stelvio. It is out on the open road, however, where the Everest feels most at home. The suspension, while on the firm side, is by no means uncomfortable, and noise insulation is excellent. It is so quiet in here. Combine that with very comfortable and supportive seats and an engine that is more than willing to keep up with traffic, and you have a great long distance cruiser on your hands. When it comes to reliability, the Everest performs very well. There are reported problems of gearbox slipping on the automatic, and the crankshaft and O2 sensors can give issues. But, especially with this 2.2 litre and 3.2 litre diesel engines, you should rest assured with the dependability of the Everest. There are always exceptions to that rule though. Always. So, I was wrong. It really does deserve all the love it gets. It isn't perfect, but this might be my favorite SUV in its segment so far. It just ticks all the right boxes. Good looks, attractive and modern interior, ease of use, versatility, practicality. I really like it. Well done, Ford. Thank you so much for watching another one of my videos. If you enjoyed it, please remember to give it a thumbs up as it makes the world of difference to my channel. If you haven't already, remember to subscribe and get notified of upcoming reviews. I have loads more loaded up for you guys, so stay tuned. If you are more interested in some behind the scenes footage and a peek into my personal life, remember to follow me on my social media platforms. The links are in the description box below. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Until next time. Bye.